This section focuses on what not to do. In other words, here are the mistakes that cause your resume to get rejected and trashed. The biggest thing that gets people in trouble is lying on their resumes. Do you know who the CEO of Yahoo was before Marissa Mayer? Most people don't. Scott Thompson was fired from his CEO position when it was revealed that he didn't have the computer science degree he claimed he did on his resume. Here's another example. Liv Loberg, a high-ranking Norwegian bureaucrat, was fined about 154,000 US dollars and jailed for 14 months when it became clear that she lied on her resume. Ask yourself if you look good in orange or stripes, and then get honest with your work history. Exaggerating your accomplishments could be the reason that you don't hear back from a company. Or the information that the recruiting team finds during the employment and education verification process could be the reason that you're not invited to continue interviewing. These next slides show the most common resume mistakes. Write as if the person knows nothing about your field or experiences. Don't use jargon or acronyms without first explaining them. Remember, hiring managers often bring in other team members or colleagues to help them interview, and their trusted colleague may not be in that same industry. Numbers 2 through 4, hopefully, are self-explanatory. Let me explain number 5, and why not using your full legal name can get you in big trouble during the employment verification process. Many large companies outsource the background check process to overseas teams who may not be so familiar with Western names. When a potential employer conducts a background check on you, they search for information about you using your full legal name. If the name on your resume doesn't match your full legal name and the employer can't quickly figure out who you are, the fastest decision that employer can make is to stop pursuing you. If your full name is Jennifer Smith and your resume lists Jenny Smith, the names don't match and the employer moves on to the next candidate. Make sure that your email address conveys professionalism. What seemed funny in college may not represent you in your best light today. And if you're concerned about age discrimination, then number 7's for you. Back in the day, people created resumes on typewriters, popped them into an envelope, and mailed them to potential employers. Courteous companies mailed rejection letters back to the applicant's home. These days, everything's electronic, so there's no need to include your full snail mail address. Besides, sad to say, there are some weirdos in the world, and you don't know who's going to receive your resume. It's safer for you and your family if you just list the city and the state that you live in. The longer your resume is, the less likely people will read it. So keep things easy on the eyes by including white space and focusing on your 3 biggest accomplishments for each section. We've already talked about how resumes and LinkedIn profiles that aren't aligned can be a pink flag to recruiters. Also, the risk of using a generic file name, like resume, is that it gets forwarded along with everyone else who names their file resume, and it's harder for hiring managers to distinguish. It's better to use a file name that has your name plus the word resume in it, and here are some examples on the screen. For number 13, I'll say it again, less is more. It's really not necessary to include every single detail of your work history because it can overwhelm people. For number 14, using the same words over and over again can get boring. So use the powerful action verbs in the appendix of your workbook to incorporate some variety. And for number 15, resume writing has its own unique rules, and using pronouns like I is frowned upon. Don't waste valuable resume real estate with an outdated, useless phrase like references available upon request. The hiring manager will ask for your references at the appropriate time in your interview process. And I think we've said all we need to say about the last one. The truth will set you free.